Harvey, the king of comedy, family man, TV host. But what if I told you that ain't the full story? The feds just confirmed something nobody saw coming. This man, Steve Harvey, caught up in one of the darkest scandals the industry's ever seen. And yeah, it's way worse than you think. This ain't your typical tabloid drama, man. We're talking federal charges, FreakOff tapes, and an arrest that's shaking Hollywood to its core. How does someone like Steve Harvey, Mr. Family Feud himself, end up in a mess like this? Well, the truth's been hidden for way too long, but today, it's all out in the open. And trust me, once you hear the details, you won't look at Steve the same way again.
You know, I just want to know.
Diddy denied bond, and the chaos begins.
Good afternoon, everybody. We made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues. We're not giving up by a long shot.
The moment the judge denied Diddy's bond, everything went south. It was like watching a house of cards collapse, one scandal after another unfolding. The FreakOff parties, which had been whispered about for years, suddenly became real, and the names linked to those parties were starting to surface. Hollywood's finest, the untouchable elite, were no longer safe, and the feds wasted no time going after them, starting with Diddy's closest circle. Steve Harvey was caught up in it, and not just in some minor way. No, the feds uncovered evidence that linked Steve to these underground gatherings, where illegal activities were the norm and morality went out the window. Diddy's FreakOff parties weren't your average Hollywood shindigs. They were a whole different beast, involving things that most people would be ashamed to admit they even knew about. And Steve Harvey? He wasn't just a guest, he was in the thick of it. The raids reveal horrifying evidence.
Breaking news, the Department of Homeland Security has just confirmed to CNN that federal law enforcement agents have raided properties owned by musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs.
When the feds raided Diddy's mansion, nobody knew what they were about to find. But what they discovered sent shockwaves through the industry. Hidden in Diddy's mansion were hours and hours of tapes. Not just any tapes, FreakOff tapes. Footage from years of private parties, showcasing the dark, depraved side of Hollywood that the world never gets to see. There are reports that some of these tapes were even sold online on the dark web. Jaguar Wright was among the first people to say it.
Oh no, he's selling it because he needs the cash. The last FreakOff tape that just got sold on the dark net, which I know because I monitor, went for $500 million.
And right there, in the middle of it all, was Steve Harvey. The tapes reportedly show him engaging in activities that would make even the most hardened gossip lover blush. Steve Harvey, the same man who preached about family values and Christian morals, was deep in Diddy's underground world. And now, the feds have all the proof they need to take him down. These tapes are going to destroy Steve Harvey's career, and there's no sugarcoating that. We're talking about footage that will not only shock his fans, but leave them questioning everything they thought they knew about him. His wholesome, clean-cut image gone. Diddy's role in Steve's fall from grace.
You're gonna hear about my party, they're gonna be shutting them down, they're gonna probably be arresting me, doing all types of crazy things just because we wanna have a good time. You know, whenever you bring up a different element into people's environment, things that broaden people's horizons, people get intimidated. So
Diddy's FreakOff parties have always been a hot topic in Hollywood. Rumors have been swirling for years, but nothing ever stuck. Until now. Diddy's arrest and the denial of his bond were the final straws that set everything in motion. He couldn't handle the pressure, and when the feds started digging deeper, he threw names out to protect himself. And one of those names was Steve Harvey. People are saying that Diddy gave up Steve to save his own skin. After all, Diddy's been living this wild lifestyle for decades. But Steve, he's the fresh meat in this scenario. And Diddy wasn't about to go down alone. So, he reportedly snitched, letting the feds know exactly who was involved in his underground activities. When Diddy realized there was no getting out of this, he turned on his so-called friends. Steve Harvey was among the first names to come up in Diddy's desperate attempt to save himself. And now, Steve's the one facing the consequences. Some might say he deserves it, considering how long he's been living a double life. But others are left wondering how someone like Steve Harvey ended up in Diddy's world in the first place. Steve Harvey's desperate attempt to escape, When the news broke that Steve Harvey was linked to the FreakOff tapes, his first instinct was to run. Sources say he immediately tried to flee the country, hopping on the first flight out in a desperate attempt to avoid what was coming. But the feds were already one step ahead, and Steve's getaway plan crumbled just as fast as his reputation. His social media went quiet around the time of Diddy's arrest, and now it's clear why. He was in full panic mode, trying to cover his tracks and scrub his online presence. But no matter how many old posts he deleted or connections he cut, it was too late. The feds had what they needed, and they weren't about to let Steve slip through their fingers. That tweet from 2017, where he praised Diddy, mysteriously disappeared, and fans were quick to catch on. "My brother at Diddy is doing a world of good for these kids," the tweet read. That didn't age well. And let's be real, there's no escaping this kind of scandal. Steve Harvey might have thought he could outrun the consequences, but the moment those tapes surfaced, his fate was sealed. Now he's facing a full-blown investigation, and the charges that could come his way are going to be serious. Steve's not the only celeb doing some digital housekeeping either. Other stars like Usher and Megan Fox have also been erasing their links to Diddy. And when big names like that start scrubbing their social media, you know things are about to get messy. What the FBI found at Diddy's house? Steve Harvey in deep trouble? And here's where it gets real creepy. You remember how Steve used to have that strange obsession with baby oil on his show, right? He'd joke about it constantly, like it was just some innocent, quirky thing. Well, buckle up because things just got a whole lot darker. Word on the street is that when the feds raided Diddy's mansion, they didn't just find the tapes. They found thousands of bottles of baby oil at these freak parties.
Those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including baby oil, personal lubricant.
Now this isn't just some funny coincidence. People are saying the baby oil was being used alongside substances at these wild events. It wasn't just for some innocent massage situation. It was part of something far more sinister. And if Steve Harvey's involved in this, his whole squeaky clean image is about to come crashing down.
Talk about baby oil all the time because it's a specialty. If you ain't really had the experience with baby oil, you can't know what it is. But you got to be a baby oil professional.
Yes, that's why they...
Now, you need to microwave this baby oil before you come in there.
The baby oil that he used to laugh and joke about, it's not looking so innocent anymore. In fact, it's making things a whole lot more suspicious. If Steve was anywhere near those parties, and this baby oil situation turns out to be true, his reputation might just be finished. The fans who once loved his wholesome persona are about to see a side of Steve they never could have imagined. What's on the tapes?
He used the embarrassing and sensitive recordings he made of the freak-offs as collateral against the victims.
You're probably wondering what exactly is on these freak-off tapes that could ruin Steve Harvey's life. Well, let's just say the rumors aren't pretty. From what we've heard, these tapes show Steve Harvey doing things that are way out of character from the persona he's carefully crafted over the years. We're talking about participation in wild, explicit activities that'll make your jaw drop. Steve wasn't just a bystander at these parties. He was in the middle of it all. Reports say the tapes show him indulging in substances, behaving in ways that would horrify his Christian fan base, and getting caught up in activities that are not only illegal, but straight up disturbing. The Steve Harvey on these tapes is nothing like the man you see on Family Feud, or hear giving motivational talks on relationships. This is a whole other side of Steve, a side that's been hidden from the world for years. And now, thanks to Diddy's downfall, that side is coming to light for everyone to see. Diddy and Steve Harvey's disturbing connection. Now, let's take a moment to talk about how Diddy and Steve Harvey even ended up in the same circle. On the surface, they seem like two very different people. Diddy, the notorious party animal, and Steve, the family-friendly TV host. But as we've learned, Hollywood's connections run deep, and behind closed doors, things aren't always what they seem.
Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way.
Steve and Diddy have reportedly known each other for years, crossing paths at high-profile events and rubbing shoulders in the same elite circles. But it wasn't until recently that their connection took a darker turn. Sources say Steve got involved with Diddy's underground world as a way to let loose after years of living under the pressure of his public image. And once he was in, there was no turning back. Diddy's FreakOff parties became an escape for Steve, a place where he could indulge in behaviors that he couldn't get away with in the public eye. And as much as Steve tried to keep his involvement hidden, it was only a matter of time before the truth came out. Was Lori Harvey caught up in the FreakOff lifestyle? But here's where things get even more disturbing. Steve's daughter, Lori Harvey, was once romantically linked to Diddy. That relationship raised a lot of eyebrows at the time. But now, people are wondering if Steve knew more about Diddy's dark side than he let on. She was 22 at the time, and Diddy was pushing 50. In fact, there were even vacation photos of Steve, Lori, and Diddy hanging out together in Italy, like one big happy family. There's even speculation that Lori wasn't just dating Diddy for love, but because it was part of some bigger business deal between Steve and Diddy. And let's not forget, Lori was previously linked to Diddy's son, Justin Combs. It gets worse. The lawsuit against Diddy includes allegations of women being forced to take pills, participate in wild parties, and even go through abortions. In 2019, when there were rumors Lori might be pregnant, those rumors disappeared just as quickly as they came, and Lori was suddenly out of Diddy's life. It is possible that Lori went through the same nightmare that other women involved with Diddy are alleging, and Steve knew about it and was involved in the cover-up.
So there's pictures of Diddy and Lori Harvey on vacation.
Okay.
Or somewhere in Mexico. So TMZ is just reporting because they took some photos, and in one of them, it just looks like Diddy's kind of rubbing her stomach. But so they're like pregnancy rumors, but they're like it could be just a tummy ache or a big lunch or something. I don't know.
Steve's loyalty to Bill Cosby, a history of defending the wrong people. Let's not forget, Steve has a history of standing by controversial figures. Case in point, Bill Cosby. When Cosby's world came crashing down amid accusations of SA, Steve didn't shy away from supporting his longtime friend. Even after dozens of women came forward, Steve remained loyal.
1 year ago today that Bill Cosby walked out of prison. He was released after an appellate court ruled that he'd been prosecuted in violation of an earlier agreement made between the district attorney's office and the disgraced comic.
Now, with similar allegations circling Diddy, it's hard not to see the parallels. Did Steve stand by Cosby because he knew more than he let on? And is he now scrambling because Diddy's FreakOff tapes might reveal even more damaging info about him? Steve's shady connection to the Biggie Smalls conspiracy. And here's a blast from the past. Steve's connection to one of hip-hop's biggest mysteries, the unaliving of Biggie Smalls. Now, when Diddy and Snoop Dogg went on the Steve Harvey show to supposedly squash the East Coast versus West Coast beef, it now raises some questions. That happened just weeks before Biggie was taken out. Some people believe that Steve played a role in helping Diddy with damage control, setting the stage for Biggie's demise. It's been rumored that Diddy had a hand in Biggie's death due to contract disputes, and Steve's show might have been part of the cover-up.
Let's see, hold up. You know, I know all about this East Coast, West Coast rivalry thing here, but we in Chicago now. This rivalry stuff, we gotta stop it, man. We stop that, we stop a lot of this.
Steve Harvey's hypocrisy, a Christian man, in the middle of a scandal. This isn't the first time Steve's been accused of being a hypocrite. He's been talking about being a good Christian man for years. But lately, his personal life has been full of drama. There were rumors about his wife Marjorie allegedly cheating on him with a bodyguard and a chef. There's even a clip going around where Steve seems visibly uncomfortable when the topic of infidelity comes up in an interview.
You get to choose what you want for your life and for your children. If you're okay, your children are gonna be okay.
Now, fans are questioning whether Steve's been out here living a double life. His involvement in Diddy's FreakOff scandal could be one of the reasons his marriage is falling apart. Because let's be real, if your husband's out here attending these wild parties, one would start looking elsewhere. The impact on Steve Harvey's legacy. At the end of the day, this scandal is going to destroy Steve Harvey's legacy. Everything he built, everything he stood for, is crumbling right in front of him. People don't forget stuff like this. His fans, they feel betrayed. His family, they're gonna have to live with this shame forever. Steve Harvey was supposed to be the guy who had it all. Fame, money, a happy family, respect. But now, all anyone's gonna remember is the scandal, the tapes, and his fall from grace. As news of Steve Harvey's alleged involvement in the scandal spreads, Fans are taking to social media to express their shock, disappointment, and in some cases, a lack of surprise. The reactions paint a picture of a fan base grappling with the potential fall of a beloved figure. One user commented, "How the mighty are falling. Steve has been riding high on other people's wings. This is not going to be pretty. Damn, Cat Williams, you called it." This reaction references comedian Cat Williams, who has been critical of Harvey in the past, suggesting that some viewers may have had suspicions about Harvey's character for some time. Another user brought up Harvey's past relationship drama, stating, "Well, Steve, karma has come for you as well, the way you did your ex-wife marring her best friend, okay?" This comment alludes to Harvey's personal life, specifically his marriage to Marjorie Harvey, who was reportedly a friend of his ex-wife. But here's the wildest part. This ain't over. Not by a long shot. More tapes are coming out, and more arrests are on the way. Hit that subscribe button and stay tuned, because this story is far from over. The fallout from Diddy's arrest is just beginning, and Hollywood is about to be rocked by even more shocking revelations.